In life, we often rely on advice from others. However, not all advice should be treated equally. Ideally, we have knowledge on the topic ourselves and get input from other knowledgeable people, being two wise persons that have a shared insight. If we are unsure, we are really seeking for a Jedi Master in our lives, someone who has more experience and wisdom than us. Like a wise friend who went through relationship trouble and now knows how to advise you. Less ideal is when we are knowledgeable but are surrounded by people who have less knowledge and wisdom than ourselves. The so-called well-meaning noise. And worst case is when we have no clue on the topic ourselves and are surrounded by people that also act like a potato. Which is like asking your cheating friend for relationship advice, which can bring us into deep trouble. Because thoughts lead to words and words lead to actions. So know who you take advice from and the people you pick to shape your life. Hi, I'm Tom and welcome to the Dopamine Factory, where we aim to understand life and craft daily happiness. And today we will be talking about the role of advice in our lives and why we often obsess over other people's opinion, but when we finally get it, we often already exactly know what they were going to say. We just didn't have the guts to act and instead chose to procrastinate. So in this video I will introduce a method to shortcut this process, so stick till the end to see how this unfolds. A few years ago, I was in a relationship that wasn't working. And deep down inside, I knew it. But instead of admitting that to myself, I went on a mission to ask everyone I could find for advice. Friends, family, colleagues, the internet. And advice I got. A good friend advised me, Tom, if you're not happy, just leave. A married colleague advised me, Tom, think carefully, you don't want to regret this. And a coach challenged me, Tom, have you even defined what you truly expect from a relationship? And at the time, I loved all of this advice because I felt like I was really working on my problems. Until I noticed that partly I wasn't. Here's the problem. Asking people too much for advice can easily become a trap. Firstly, because people don't give you objective advice. They project their own life onto your situation and from there tell you what they would do. Which is understandable, but don't confuse their truth as a universal truth that always works for you. Secondly, by asking for advice, it's tempting to shift responsibility. Because then you can at least say, they told me so, instead of fully owning decisions yourself. And thirdly, and maybe the biggest one, asking for more and more advice is also a way of stalling and a good excuse not to take action. Because often we already exactly know what people are going to advise us. What is missing is a way to funnel all of these different thoughts straight into action. Let me introduce you the mental boardroom. Imagine for a second your mind is a boardroom. Within the board, the people you normally turn to for advice. So your parents, your best friends, your mentor, your inner critic, ideally also those with some expertise. The task of our mental boardroom is like every boardroom. Give direction to the company, shape an opinion on complex topics within a reasonable time frame, and as a chair, converge all of the viewpoints to make and own an end decision. But now we are not talking about an organization, but we use this structure to create more clarity in our own lives. So, how do we run a mental boardroom meeting? Firstly, we are putting our issue on the table, like how to deal with a relationship issue. We do this by writing the issue down and put around it all the likely opinions of our trusted advisors. Secondly, imagine for every argument from one person a counter-argument from every other person. So you get the perspectives from all different angles. Also write this down. And then lastly, internalize the different viewpoints and decide what is the viewpoint that resonates most with you. And dare to see it as your own, like a boardroom that speaks with one voice. And of course, this is a viewpoint that will develop over time. But right now, just accept that this is how you see things, which is probably already more own opinion than most people will ever have. Because what we do by endlessly asking others for advice is that we are secretly hoping for others to have some kind of golden bullet that will make all our problems go away, which simply doesn't exist. The power of consciously establishing an opinion that is our own is that we shift from collecting ideas to validating our viewpoints, which also allows us to work on solutions from day one. And most solutions to problems in life are not that complex anyways. We either accept how things are and keep on doing what we did, or take a leap towards more happiness and embrace that this will mean change. Like, we can't improve our life by keeping things the same. And deep down inside, most people already know what needs to be done. We just need to find the courage to act. So, why does all of this matter? Many people procrastinate the decision which they know they need to take, and in the same time endlessly complain about it. Like some people manage to do this all their life. And this is also something I observed in many self-development courses I attended. There's, without kidding, a big group of people in the world that during those courses constantly complains about their issues, actively playing the victim. Which, to be clear, I initially sympathize with. But when I then meet them a year later, they often complain about exactly the same stuff, without having taken any action. Which then in me triggers the thinking, are you kidding me? These people are probably so deep in the self-pity that they don't see they are the issue. Because if you're serious about improving your life, you need to take action and start fixing your stuff. And taking action is often easier than it seems, because most complications live on our own mind. Take the question if you should approach a girl. The answer is always yes, and the action itself is also super simple. You walk there and you say hi. If, however, instead of doing this, we decide to discuss this idea with our friends and think about it a few nights, of course it will get harder and we put enormous pressure on ourselves and will likely never do it. While we could have literally solved this issue by just walking there the first 5 seconds we saw her. And it's like this with many issues in our lives. If you consider doing sports, just do it. If you want to have a salary raise, just say it. If you have issues in your relationship, just talk about it. So stop waiting for permission, stop outsourcing your own opinion, and be your own best consultant and dare to act. Because the worst that can happen is that something does not initially succeed and that we learn, grow and improve over time. Start trusting your inner voice. So, what was the last time you discussed your issues for the 25th time with your friends without taking any action? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel, and it's your unique chance to still give me a spike of dopamine today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love, Tom.